Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. Today we are going to talk about OAuth applications, and I have Asaf with me. Asaf, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Heike. I'm Asaf. I'm a product manager in Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps team. And today I want to talk with you about OAuth applications.
Yes, and the reason is there is, of course, a lot of enterprises that use OAuth applications. So, there's a lot of cloud applications that the employees need to use. But where's the overview? Like where can I see what are the used OAuth applications? Who has access? What is the different permissions? And then, of course, maintain them. Like, do I still need them? Do I not need them? So I think this is what we're going to talk about, right?
Yeah, maybe I will start with a bit of background because I know that traditionally people tend to think about okay, well, I will ask you, where does your important organizational data reside? Traditionally, people think on devices. But actually, when you think of like a modern enterprise, your data is mostly on the SaaS applications. And like, you need to know what happens there, right?
You need to know first, yes, where are they? And then who has access and what is the access? And is the access still needed, still relevant? So I think that's what we're going to look at. So when you think about creating an inventory, I don't think we need to create one. I'm pretty sure there is an inventory of all the access that has been given to OAuth applications.
Yeah, when you talk about the Microsoft 365 environment, so all applications are managed in Entra. But from what I see, and I will soon show it in the demo, a lot of organizations, I work in Defender for Cloud Ops for several years. A lot of organizations are really concerned of shadow IT and like not knowing what is being used in their organization. And we see it strongly in which SaaS applications are being used in use. But when you talk about OAuth application, the risk is even much higher. Those applications, they have access to your most sensitive data. They can do things on behalf of you, and you need to know what happens there. Now, if you look at my screen, you can see that Microsoft Entra, under the Enterprise Apps tab, you can see the OAuth application that has access to your organization.
Mm-hmm. So when you say quickly, Asaf, access to your organization, so I remember, and I think there is this pop-up that we all know. Do you want to grant this application access to your profile, your email address? But there can be way more, right? I don't want to ask now, why is this needed? I mean, it could be that this application is doing something for you and then, it's needed. But I don't think that people, and I don't want to scare anyone now, but really look at all the things that are needed and verify if this is really needed. Because if you need access right now to this application, what should I do? Say no, and then I can't access the application. Like, it doesn't even allow me to select what's allowed and what's not allowed.
So let me show you how it may looks like, this consent permission. So for the listeners who don't know exactly what is OAuth application, so like it's a protocol that allows you to authorize an application to do activities on behalf of you or to get access to your data. And when I use it for private purposes outside of my work, and like I want to, to sign an application for a single sign-on, and I want to use my email. Okay, so I give email and it asks me, do you allow this application to read your email address? Or not the content of the email, but just get the address or read a profile. And I don't mind, right? No problems. But when it comes to other things, and especially when it's like your work profile, it gets a little risky. Like you see in this example, this application want to read and write your files and your calendar, and like, okay, this is a bit more than just knowing what is your email, right? And for organization, this can be a real risk, and maybe we will see later examples of applications with much broader permissions.
And I think it's the key of managing and maintaining, right? It's not something, okay, you accept once, because then it will be there forever. So I think getting customers or security teams to review what has been allowed over the time and then also take action maybe and remove the permissions again or something in the end. I think this is where we need to get. So now let's have a look at what we have.
Yeah, all organizations that have Microsoft Entra and they have applications in their Microsoft 365 environment, they can go here, they can see the enterprise applications. But given this view, it's hard to really understand what is going on there and what is problematic and not. And here, this is just a demo tenant, by the way. So it doesn't have a lot of application. And we see like in small organization, hundreds. In enterprise, it can be thousands of applications. So I go inside and I want to see, what permissions does this app have? And there, okay, it's probably a legitimate application. It's Microsoft Graph Reader. There's probably an explanation why it's there. And it can read mail and do some activities on behalf of you. Okay, so here you can see a sample of permissions and we know this application is legitimate. This is basically what we know from here. But there are applications that might be a bit more tricky. And you can see like here, for example, several names. And like if you are the security admin and you want to go over it and understand what's going on, you don't necessarily know what each and every app does. And to understand what's the permission, it's a bit difficult. So I will go to this application, for example.
I actually thought now, Asaf, you want to tell me that, yeah, you look at this there, this is legit, this is not. I think we can't ask people to do this, right? So there's so many, as you said, this is just a test environment. And from a name only, I mean, I can call my OAuth applications Microsoft Graph. Doesn't say anything that's now the official one. So what can we do to help here?
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. So I think that the best approach to do it is use Defender for Cloud Apps and the App Governance feature. So I can go to the Cloud App section in the Defender portal, the App Governance. And let's focus now on the Microsoft 365 applications.
So this is now going to be a copy view of what we just saw in Entra.
So not exactly. Here we are going to see applications that has permission to your Microsoft 365 environment and not all Entra application.
But this is also because this is where your data resides, right? So we are talking SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, Outlook, and all.
Exactly. Even more, once I get into here, I get better view for the security admin or for the SOC analyst. Want to analyze and see what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at it from like posture perspective and I want to manage, I want to get visibility to what is going on here. What are the applications in my organization? What is the risk? Maybe I will try with the privilege level. I will start by looking at the application with the highest privilege.
Uh-huh.
So this is where we start. And then I can go and view it here. And I also want to see the usage of the application. For example, if an application was last used more than 6 months ago, maybe it shouldn't be here. So in this case, the application was already disabled.
But you see it as super interesting data, right? You were saying this is the privilege. So this is with the most selected or like given permissions to this OAuth application.
Right.
Could be write to calendar, write to email, write files, like.
Yeah, like downloading files on behalf of you or like writing emails on behalf of you. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the more risky permissions.
Yeah. And then you also see last used, but I also saw something about, there it is, the data usage.
Yeah.
You can see how much data is being transferred over the application.
Yeah, and you can actually monitor the amount of data and you can monitor the change in amount of data with policies and see if something like acting suspicious and be alerted on it. Actually, like for the basis, I would start with like making sure my environment is clean, that I only have applications that they need to be in use. Um, yeah, and start with high privilege.
Yeah, okay. So Asaf, we talked about, writing emails on your behalf, creating calendar entries and so on, but do we actually see attackers leveraging this and attacks that we have, seen?
Definitely, and this is like attackers are definitely aware of this of applications being like something relatively new and overlooked and actually very powerful. And we see attackers use auth applications in different ways. Like one can be for initial access. Maybe they give like to do a phishing campaign and ask you to grant consent to a malicious applications they hold. This is one thing. Um, Second thing, maybe to use like an abandoned application in your tenant that has permissions and they got a hold on this application. And
Mhm.
also additional thing, and this is an example we can see on the screen, that attackers are, okay, they maybe go and get the initial access in a different way, for example, with phishing and then steal tokens. And then they use the auth applications maybe for persistence or maybe to do the malicious activities on behalf of them. Because in this example, you can see that the attacker got already the initial access using phishing. But first thing they do, they add an auth application. This auth application allowed them to work silently, remotely, and very efficiently.
Mhm.
In this case, the application is sending a phishing email using the victim. So this is an example. And by the way, in this case, we see an example of attack disruption where we detect the malicious, like the compromised user adding auth application. We say, okay, we understand. Like this is the attacker going to do something malicious using this application in a minute. We cut it and disable the application before they manage to do it.
Wow. They would have progressed further, as we can see here. They would create some rules that emails are not coming into the inbox, but are moved out. They would then try to move laterally by accessing other email folders via the phishing email and so on. So it's
Yeah.
pretty nasty. So Asaf, now we see there's a lot of applications and many of them have higher permissions. So this is a great overview, but like thinking about an enterprise that might need to, consult with many other people, get verification or clarification about apps, like is there a better view on extract that data, report that data out to other people?
Yeah, so that's a good question. In advanced hunting, you can query the OAuth info table and see all of those applications. So this is just like, okay, I want to see the top 100. And if I want to review it, I would probably start with external applications and I have this upper region. I can see like internal interface applications or maybe external. I will start with those with high privilege and of course focus on those that are enabled. And I run this query and I get like a smaller set of applications. And this is like the best way to start and validating that, okay, is this application okay or not? Ooh, this one looks interesting, for example, like, okay, mimic emails, Alpine skiers, tricky.
Okay. And you can also get, I think, additional details. We don't need to go there, but um, in the GAP governance overview, where you saw each application has a fly out window where you have additional details. You can see last modified, created, and all these. We have columns here as well, but if you want to see it in overview. Okay, that's the mimic emails. Mhm.
Yeah, this is the application we discussed about. And we can see like the data usage of the application here. And what are the users who consented to these applications and the traffic and the level of permission. Wow, looks terribly suspicious here. Um, if I want to do something, I can go back to the Enter portal. Like I can disable the application from the app, but probably I want to investigate it a little more. So I will go here, I will look at the properties of the application. Um,
Don't do anything. It's our demo tenant.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to ruin things, things that someone put here. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you can do this one by one, obviously, but honestly, I think, if it's an enterprise with hundreds of apps, what is your suggestion on what they should do to help, like, minimize the risk
Yeah.
of these OAuth applications being misused?
So I think that the first thing to do, I will go here to the policies section. Um, and I will create a new policy for unused applications. Here, like yeah, we will call it unused app. And let's say now I want 180 days, for example. And by the way, like I heard of at least one organization that had like OAuth application sitting there with high permissions. Um, and like one day, attacker got a hold of on this application and managed to do like terrible things. You probably read about it in some blogs. Okay, actions. And like, do I want to apply a default setting? Let's see, let's customize the policy. Oh, and here, this is nice. I can select all applications and maybe I have like, I don't know, like HR application that I need to use like once a year, but I still need it. So I will exclude the specific application. But here for this exercise, we will choose all applications. And now the default is, it shows me 30 days. Mm, I want to be more graceful for applications that maybe have legitimate reason not to operate each month. So
Uh-huh.
I give it 6 months here and it can be tuned. And I continue. And this is nice. Like here I can disable this app automatically.
Wow.
Um, and now attack surface simply removed.
Yeah, yeah. And the beauty is if something suddenly doesn't work anymore more and a user needs to access it, they will find their way
Yeah,
to
yeah,
find us and
exactly.
enable that application again. Yes.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And like I can keep it off by default, but let's activate it and submit it and
Mhm.
then it's done.
Wow. Okay. So this is one thing less to worry about. Of course, you still want to go monitor and see what are all the disabled applications now. Um, so you were saying disable already removed the attack surface for these applications. Um, what about deleting? Is there at some point, would you say, okay, just clean up and delete everything that then hasn't been used after being disabled for a year?
Yeah, probably I would go to back to the enter portal and see like if I have applications that weren't in use for a while. Um, it will be good to remove them. If no one who wanted them came to me and said that oh, you accidentally disabled it. So yeah,
Mm. And of course, for everyone, it's synchronized, right? So it's now disabled through app governance here, but also in the Entra portal, you will see that these applications are now disabled.
exactly.
So, Asaf, I mean, it looks very easy, right? You create the policy. Does everybody just have this by default when they have Defender for Cloud Apps, or how do they get app governance to work?
So not for every tenant, and to make sure, you just need to go to the link below and see that this feature is enabled in your tenant. If not, just enable it.
Okay, so it is easy.
Yeah.
Okay, Asaf, so now that people know how to turn on the policies going forward to disable those applications, what about in the past or for those who can't turn it on right now? So I assume we have detections for OAuth applications misusage or something?
Yeah, exactly. We have two types of detection. The first type is detections that are made out of policies, like the one we've seen before. You can see, for example, like increasing data usage by overprivileged or highly privileged application. And there is also the second type, which is threat detections.
Uh-huh.
Those are detections that are made by security researchers when they know that malicious applications are involved here. And here we can see, for example, like global alert applications seen across organization with high level of permissions, while accessing email and creating the books. For example, in this case, maybe the application didn't do any malicious activity in this tenant, but we know that it's malicious based on behaviors worldwide, so we alert you on it. And of course, there are also alerts that trigger based on behaviors on this specific tenant.
Okay, but there isn't evidence and a response, and that there isn't. So yeah, probably there might be something in this tenant.
Yeah, in the case of such alert, maybe the attacker didn't even get to do the malicious activity here, but the app is already installed, and we alert before the attacker managed to do it.
Okay, good. So I think we gave a lot of tips and tricks on how to better monitor and maintain OAuth application usage, existence in the network. Is there any last words that you would like to tell our audience on how to operationalize this better or what they should watch out for?
Yes, this is the real shadow IT that a lot of organizations aren't aware of, and attackers know it and use it to compromise the tenants and do malicious activities like exfiltrate data, send emails, and so on. And you need both parts. You need to maintain clean environment, remove unnecessary applications, reduce privileges. And on the other end, monitor threats, monitor alerts, and make sure nothing bad happens there.
Okay. Thank you so much, Asaf, for being my expert on today's episode. And I hope everyone out there enjoyed this episode and go watch for your tenant and see if you want to configure some policies. And until the next episode, stay safe. Bye-bye.